All right, we're trying this again. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, well, the tech gods are messing with me, apparently. Please let me know if we are back in the house. Can you see me? Can you hear me? What is good in the hood? Let me know if we are back on. Yee-ho! Thank you, 𝐓𝐔𝐄𝐃, for letting me know. Yes, I'm back now, Crystal. Thank you. Not real sure, but you know, this is what happens with tech from time to time. So we'll see if we are broadcasting live in all places. So I saw some of you were mentioning that yes, you have some ideas already. I think I might have to reboot over on Kajabi as well. We will figure this out. So please continue to type into the chat. Thank you guys for letting me know we're back up and running. We are working through these issues one by one. All right, so first things first, tell me which sort of business area are you in, if you can. That would also be helpful to me. That way I can make sure that I tailor my suggestions for you. So specifically, if you, I know some of you, don't worry, but if you happen to be new to my channel, if I don't already know you and what you do in the world, then would you please type into the chat what kind of industry you're in. And for those of you who have already decided you know what kind of product you want to bring to the world, I see coaching. Margareta has 3 ideas. No worries, no problem, but just type in exactly what those ideas are. I know, Margareta, we are going to get you definitely moving forward. You've been holding on to some ideas for quite some time, so I'm excited to see them come full circle, right? All right, we're going to see if we can, if everyone is back on track now. All right, so Lena says you're in the beauty field, specifically permanent makeup artist. Ooh, and an eyebrow specialist. Okay, well, don't feel like an outsider. We have a lot of creatives with us because of my background in media and TV. But if you have already an idea about what you want to bring to the world, Lena, please let me know, because that would be wonderful to know. And Audrey, an educator. Oh, and you know grant writing. I can think of a whole lot of stuff that you could be doing with grant writing. Okay. And Margareta says, a father's guide for childbirth. Ooh, that sounds really, really helpful. My own birth course. Okay. And Margareta also says a program to help moms overcome fear of childbirth. But you would do that privately. Okay. And Amaka's thinking of doing life coaching and online courses. And of course, Alex, we know you. You're in the wellness product and life coaching space. And Margareta's VBAC program, which I'm sure will be helpful. That is vaginal birth after cesarean. All right, so this is good stuff. So we have some good ideas already to get us started with things. That's excellent. So hopefully you've already downloaded today's worksheet. So the worksheet specifically has a lot on it. So I'm not going to dilly-dally. I want to help you get right in to getting this brilliance out of you and into some sort of product form. All right, so if you look at today's worksheet, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or Kajabi, you should have the link to the worksheet. The first thing on our agenda is to do a little bit of market research. In other words, you really want to make sure that you're solving a problem that people actually would pay to have solved. So Amaka, you say you're going to be doing online courses. Can you give us some more specificity? Be specific about the kind of thing that you would like to teach. So when we went through Deep Dive 1, we in particular started to ask you questions about the results that you provide, the problems that you solve, and the success that you deliver. So it was this alphabet soup of coming up with your brand identity, the MVP(s)³ and the RSVP method. So even if you're new to this, no problem, answer question number 1, and that is list the problems that you know how to solve well. And because my promise to you is to help you launch in 30 days or less, don't choose something from the future, like, one day you want to teach a course on blah, blah. Let's start where you are today. Like, what specific problem do you know how to solve well? So in the beauty industry, maybe it's you know how to help people choose the colors that go perfectly with their skin tone. Lena says you're doing a tailored beauty course and seminars for salespeople in the sales industry. Or in the beauty industry who have no beauty school background. Ooh, I like that. That's very specific. That's awesome. And I bet there are going to be tons of people who would find that valuable. Okay, so in that case, Lena, what is the problem? The problem is they're in this sales force now, and they don't have a beauty school background. And if that's a problem that you know how to serve well, great. So you write that down. Amaka says you can teach people how to effectively communicate with their partners in order to reduce conflict or misunderstanding. Awesome. So if these are the problems that you already know how to solve, excellent. Then that's number 1. Perfect. Number 2, in doing your market research, you're going to go online and find out how many people are suffering with that problem. So in the world of medicine and healthcare, you can always find statistics on, what's the rate of people who've had a cesarean who will want to have a vaginal birth the next time around. In sales, there are tons of people in the beauty industry, right? We've got people working at Sephora and Ulta, and depending on what country you're in, even cosmetics are sold in the pharmacies, right? There are a lot of home consultants, people who are doing beauty sales who work from home, or they're in these sort of, not MLM, but you know what I mean. So you want to do some research to find out how many people are actually suffering with those problems. Because if you have a problem that only a few tiny little people in the world are dealing with, it's going to be a little more challenging for you to use this process to launch in 30 days. So definitely do that first bit of research. So with Monica, you're saying, and you've changed your name to Monica Wisdom Headquarters, so official, adding excitement to boring copywriting. Wow, well, you've got millions of people who are suffering with writing copy for their websites or their social media posts that don't convert, people who are writing up sales pages and it's just boring and dull. You've got millions of people. So that's number 2. You want to find out how many people are suffering with that problem. In other words, we call it, what is the market size? What do you even have something that would be a viable business? So far, so good. Then you want to make a list of what are the existing solutions to that problem. So you really want to cast your net wide, because you may be doing something online, but once this whole confinement is over, you might be competing with people who have brick and mortar physical businesses. So make a list of all the ways that your ideal customer would solve that problem. What are the typical solutions? And if you have questions, you can't figure it out, type it into the chat and I will answer you live. So don't be afraid to even think of the big solutions out there. It's not that you're going to try to compete with, Walmart or Target if you're selling a particular product. You don't have to become the next big guru. As we showed on screen yesterday in our deep dive, all you really need are 1,000 true fans buying a product of, say, $100 to create a 6-figure business. And for most people, getting to 100,000 is a great milestone. And of course, you can scale beyond that as long as your market size is big enough. So what are the existing solutions out there in the marketplace to the problem that you look to solve. Now we start to get into the interesting bits. So we talked about your USP, which is your unique selling proposition. That is your unique strengths, your character, your values, your personality. How would you bring your unique approach to solve that problem? Now, it may be that you've developed your own methodology. You have a several-step process. It may be that you went to school and you have, a combination of characteristics. Like in my case, as a medical doctor who also studied acupuncture and Chinese medicine, if I was solving the problem, for example, of eating disorders, what made me different from all of the other eating disorder professionals out there was, one, I was also an MD with specialty training in nutrition and bariatric nutrition specifically, but I was also an acupuncturist. So that gave me a unique perspective that the average person, treating eating disorders didn't have. Not that I'm better than anyone else, but I have a different approach, which some people really appreciated because I could do acupuncture. We could talk about energy and intuition and mindfulness and meditation, in addition to all the other psychological stuff. So how would you solve your clients' problems in your own unique way? So again, no copycats. You're not trying to be like anybody else. You're bringing your own energy and wisdom to it all. All right, so Valerie, I love what you're saying here. As we age, it's common to believe that we will have reduced health, but you can help people maintain healthy cells, and you really don't have to suffer as you age. So that is awesome. So that sounds like one of the P's from the MVP cubed. So one of the MVPs is, the P stands for philosophy. So that is just the way that you see things. So the common way of thinking is health declines as you age, you just have to suck it up. But what you're really saying is aging is optional and you don't have to suffer. So that to me comes under your philosophy or a brand position statement. Excellent. So how would you solve your problem differently? Well, I guess, Valerie, you need to specifically tell us which is the problem that you're solving. Is it about aging? Is aging and suffering the problem that you're looking to solve in today's lesson? I know you can solve a lot of them, but for today's exercise, we're really getting focused on one problem just to help you work through the process of creating your first product. All right. So Kati says, you work with clients on their mindset and emotions. Excellent. So what is the number one problem you're solving? I think we've talked about physical pain. So if you're distinguishing yourself from other people who treat pain by saying you can work with mindset and emotions, that's awesome. That is definitely part of your USP. And Margareta says, you're seeing women as a whole. The current programs treat the fear, perhaps, or the physical part, but no one is helping women 360 degrees, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. That's awesome. That is exactly what we're talking about, how you do it differently. All right, and so Shireen is going to be doing courses, 5 hidden keys for being more of yourself, more of the time in menopause. That's good. Conscious cards games to explore and identify with multicultural icons, and online discussion groups. Okay, so those are components, it sounds like. So the courses would be, these 5 keys. Conscious Card is another product, and online discussion groups, that would, in my opinion, be part of either the support for people who take a course, or it's a marketing technique. Yes, Valerie, prevention is always better than the cure. That sounds like more of a philosophy again. So back on the P of the MVPs. And Metta says, you're a psychotherapist and you know how to help sensitive people to shine and find their inner power and stop feeling wrong and stop being or feeling like a victim. You're from Denmark, you're a sensitive yourself, you're a healer, and you can feel people and hear the unspoken words so that they're light, even if they don't see it themselves, and see their light. Awesome. So that is a lot of stuff. So what you need to tell us then, Meta, is what is the problem you're solving? It sounds like it's feeling like a victim and not being connected to their power, if I just reverse engineer what you've written there. And Isabella says, helping people to connect with their own true self, becoming their authentic selves. All right, so those sound a little bit, some of those are more like outcomes. No worries, we're going to help you get a little more specific. But maybe you're just jumping ahead in the worksheet, and that's totally fine too. So question number 5 is, what is the specific outcome? So far you've said things like connecting with your own true self, becoming your authentic self. Meta said that you're helping people to shine. Audrey is an educator trying to help organizations build capacity by increasing their revenue stream. Okay, cool. So it sounds like to me then, that specific outcome is the revenue stream. And I'm going to suggest you drill down on that one because it's tied to a value that anyone can get behind. For some people, the idea of being your authentic self, it's still a little bit intangible. It's a great outcome. That's my mission in life, to help people connect to and liberate their authentic selves. But the more specific you can get about the outcome and what it looks like and feels like for them is going to be really helpful. Alex, your coaching is centered around identity, using personality profiling, past experiences and one-on-one coaching to truly find your strengths, gifts, and callings. I like how things are getting more and more crystal clear with you, Alex. See, this is going to be really good. Okay, so that's about what you're using, right? Or the methodology. And now it's about, so truly finding your strengths, gifts, and callings. So there are a lot of folks in this community who are inspired to help people like find their calling, find your true purpose in life. So, what you're going to remember doing back in question number 2 is in the market research, you've got to find out how many people are actually suffering with that problem. Now, I can tell you that it's in the millions if you're talking about people not feeling like they're living their true self or living with their true purpose. But everyone, we all have to do the research. Selena says, have the necessary training and knowledge to be more safe, efficient, and confident. All right, so the specific outcome for you, Lena, is that they will be safe, efficient, and confident when selling a beauty product that's tailored to what they need to know. No one has 2 years to spend learning everything. Awesome. So you're going to see in the worksheet, I'm going to ask you to get really specific on how long you think it will take to deliver that specific result. Okay. And then Monica, you say that the problem is that people are very structured in their writing and they're not adding their personality in their copywriting. They're not willing to break the rules in order to be creative. Awesome. So then what is the specific outcome that you're providing? You've got the problem. Is the outcome that they will have their personality in their copywriting? State that for us. And Amaka says, the outcome is a happier, more blissful relationship for couples. Awesome. So we are on the right track here. Now, this one's important. A lot of you, for the first few deep dives, were asking some really good questions like, how do I know if I'm really ready? Am I really an expert? Should I really be offering my stuff if I'm not 100% where I think people should be? Maybe I've still got my own issues. Well, people buy transformation, and even if you're not 100% perfect, you may still be able to facilitate transformation. So how confident are you that you can deliver those results? So I'm asking you to rate, if you have the worksheet open, I'm asking you to rate on a scale from 1 to 5 stars. How many stars would you give yourself in terms of your confidence? 1 star for not very confident to 5 stars. You're very confident that you can deliver that result. Please, even if you have multiple problems that you solve or the outcomes that you're trying to deliver, I want you to write them and rate each of them. Okay, because some of you have multiple things that you can do. Maybe you can help people lose the first 10 pounds. Maybe you have another outcome that says to get you past your weight loss plateau, which is a very different outcome. You may have, if you remember from yesterday, you created a before and after timeline, meaning people come to you and before they interact with your treatment protocol or your coaching or your book or service, they're in one state of being. And then you take them through some steps. Those steps may be physical, emotional, spiritual, but those steps are going to lead them to the after. The after is their transformed state. Okay? So along that transformation sequence, there may be multiple steps along the way. So it might be, losing that first 10 pounds. It might be other things, getting your blood sugar controlled, and then eventually you might actually get off some of your medications, for example. So there might be different points that lead them through their transformation. If you decide that today we're going to focus on one product that you're delivering, or maybe you're still figuring it out, that's okay. At this stage, in the next 20 minutes, you're going to start to narrow down. But write down all of the outcomes that you believe you can deliver and then rate yourself. On a scale of 1 to 5 stars, how confident are you that you can deliver those results? Is this making sense? The reason you're going to do this is at the end of this worksheet, or towards the end, we're going to start to tally up. We're going to start to add up your confidence level, your preparation level, the resources you have, what the market actually wants, what the market is willing to pay, and what you plan to get out of it financially, emotionally, or business-wise. So there's a method to this. So please follow along, write this down, and keep up, okay? So I'm going to check in now with the chat and see what you're up to. So Fernando says, implementing a healthcare with changes in a patient's mindset, changing their lifestyle base on a conscious support with techniques that allow them to have great results. All right, that's great, Fernando, but now we need, what are those results? Because people are going to want to know, like, what can I expect along this timeline? So because you're a doctor, you can make it very, very specific. Whether it's mental health issues that are going to see improvements, or it's physical health and certain internal numbers that are going to get better, like blood pressure or blood sugar or so on. So just be very specific about the result that you're trying to get that client or patient to. All right, so Catherine, this is an interesting one. All right, how to live on prana and require less food. That is an interesting one. Now, that one's going to be tricky for you to do market research. Like, how many people do you think are interested? Well, I guess let's do it on the flip side. What is the problem that you solve? Catherine, I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear. All right, let me look through here. Margareta says, you will overcome your fear of childbirth and receive the care you're seeking for. 5 stars. Awesome. Welcome. Awesome. And Isabella, the worksheet is in the comments on Facebook. So what, and you're rating yourself a 5 star, Isabella, tell me which of those outcomes are you rating? Valerie says, one of your outcomes would be happier and healthier without relying on pharmaceutical medications, which in the main only treat the symptoms and don't get to the root cause. Awesome. So that's excellent. And how confident are you, Valerie, on a scale of 1 to 5 stars? How confident are you that you could actually deliver that result? And I want numbers. Don't just say very confident, although I see the 5-star rating, Kati, is 5 stars. And Kati says, I'm very confident because I healed myself from cancer. That's awesome. So, and Shelley, you're at a 4.5. Good. We're making progress. That's very good. And Joanna, yes, with your work helping animals and their human families, a specific outcome would be the health and happiness of a pet. If it was your, say, your training business, you know, you would have certain milestones, you know, teaching the puppy in the very beginning, what is the first thing everybody wants? It's like, get them potty trained, for example. Or maybe the next thing is getting them to stop chewing on your shoes or whatever. So you would have specific outcomes. And maybe the long outcome at the very end is they're a well-behaved puppy that knows like 5 different commands, doesn't eat your shoes. You know, so there's going to be several things that you get them to. So think back on yesterday's assignment where you wrote this line of the before and the after, the now and the then, and all of the milestones they're going to get to as a result of your service. If we're only focusing on one of those milestones, that's fine. Then focus on that one outcome. So if you're training, getting the family to know how to potty train the dog, then the specific outcome is no more peeing in the house. Or, you know, the dog pees on the potty pad or knows how to, like with me, I trained my Jack Russell and my Yorkie. I taught them to ring a bell when they wanted to go potty, so that if I was in another part of the house or I was downstairs, if I heard the bell, then I would know to come up and put them out so they wouldn't pee and poop in the house. So that's a very specific outcome, for example. Okay? All right. And Raj, you're giving yourself 5 stars, helping them step out of their poor programming to heal emotionally and step into their unique light. Awesome. So that's awesome. We're going to get more specific on those results so that it's language that they would use, although overcoming poor programming, healing emotionally, those are pretty close. Stepping into their own unique light, it's pretty aspirational, not very tangible, but it sounds good, so it might work. Okay, yes, dealing with imposter syndrome. Well, we're going to help you with that too. Apart from that, you'd say 3 to 4 stars. And okay, so 3, 4 stars. People are getting 4 stars in here. Awesome. And so Monica, great. Now we have a specific outcome for you. You would help people have copy that will be personalized and conversational, that would create a deeper connection with the reader, which will result in increased loyalty, trust, and sales. Now that, my darling, is perfect, because anyone could understand that, especially if they're finding that they're not getting likes and shares, they're not getting sales. That is super concrete. Now, Monica, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. How confident do you feel that you can get that result? And awesome. I'm very happy to hear, Valerie, that you rate yours at 5 stars. Awesome. Okay, good. So you guys are doing great. And Monica, you say 5 stars as well. Fabulous. Wonderful. And Isabella, helping people overcome chronic pain, helping them connect to the true root cause of the pain. Awesome. And you healed yourself from chronic leg pain that you had for 4 years. So that's got to give you a large deal of confidence, right? In addition to your professional background, right? As a physical therapist and with myofascial release and energy healing. So that's, I'm assuming, right? Okay. And Margareta, well, I'll have to tell you how I trained the dog to do that. It is actually so easy. Even Sienna was like amazed that little Lusa would ring a bell to go potty in the first like month of being potty trained. Okay, so great. So you guys are working on your confidence. Good. These are excellent. So next up on our list is number 7. And that is, how long do you estimate it's going to take the person to get to the result that you're promising? All right, how long do you think it'll take? So remember, looking at your milestones from before and after, how long do you anticipate it'll take a person? These are things that you're going to be thinking about as you start to market the course, and it's also going to help you in the pricing. Because if you're promising results in 10 days or 30 days or 6 months, people will want to know that. So how long do you think it will take people to reach your goal? And Amaka is asking, is this a concrete outcome, having a happier, more blissful relationship? I would actually challenge you a bit, because there are so many relationship coaches, therapists, and courses out there. I would challenge you to focus on a specific problem that you have the skills and the confidence to solve. And so doing your market research, what are the things that causes the less than blissful relationship? I would hone in on that, because your outcome will be more tangible if you know that you're solving a specific problem rather than just saying the disharmony in relationships. All right, so Valerie, you know that your program is going to take 6 months. Excellent, with support and commitment. Yes, yes, yes. And absolutely, it is going to depend on support, commitment, a client's motivation and their drive. That's why you, in deep dive number 2, we really went hard on identifying the characteristics and the attributes of your ideal client. So maybe if you're willing to work with just anyone, you'll take anyone. But maybe you only want to work with the people who are actually motivated and are actually willing to engage on getting whatever result is. Of course, it depends on the issues that you're dealing with. I know when you talk about emotional healing, if you're healing trauma, there's no way that you're going to be able to say, we're going to heal all of your traumatic wounds and get you flying high in 6 months. Even with the best inpatient therapy and drug treatment centers, we're blessed when we have those sorts of outcomes, but it's not a guarantee. All right. So at least get a sense of how long it will take them to reach the goal. Or, it is challenging for you, Margareta, because you're dealing with it depending on where the mom is in their journey. But I would suggest along that trajectory, you break it down into a reasonable amount of time, so that if somebody finds you and they're in their 6th month of pregnancy, there's still a program that fits them. Make sense? All right. So Priya says, helping cancer survivors figure out their new normal. Everyone is so focused on getting us through it, but once we're done with treatments, that's when the true journey begins. Awesome. And so how long do you think that would take, Priya, to get someone into a state of the new normal? I know that one's probably going to be hard, but maybe there are certain milestones, like accepting what's gone on in your body is probably one step. And then how do you talk about your cancer treatment? There are probably going to be steps that you can take people through. So I would outline that. Okay. Awesome. So you guys are doing really great. Really, really well. All right. So that was question number 7. That's how long it will take to reach the goal. Don't worry if you can't give a specific, but just recognize that certain milestones should have at least some sort of timeline on them. Okay? And then getting really specific about how it benefits them. So if you're trying to create an online course and there are already 10 people doing that, or a group coaching program and there are already 150,000 people doing that, you really need to be able to make sure that you're speaking to their needs and really in tangible ways that they get it. So how would getting to that solution benefit them? So you can't just say, you'll be happier, you'll have less stress. In other words, really go back to that sheet in the deep dive number 2, where we looked specifically. So it was page 6 of the deep dive into your niche worksheet, where I asked you to look at, if they got rid of that problem, what would be different for them? What would they be? Would they be lighter, happier, more joyful, more energetic? What would they have? They would have more energy. They would have more sex. They would have more orgasms. They would have more money. They would have more confidence. What would they do differently if they got to that? So we want to be really super specific. So if you haven't got it, don't worry. We'll get you the links so that you can get that deep dive number 2 replay and the worksheet. Because when you really know how it will show up in their life in tangible ways, it's going to help you with your marketing. So how will it benefit them? What are the tangible benefits? So we've talked about the easy ones, like, okay, you're going to get off of your medications. You'll have more confidence. But the tangible things would be like, you'll have more sales, which means you'll have more money, which means you can finally hire staff to help you with your business. Or you'll be finally able to take your kids on that vacation, or you'll be able to save money. You've got to look very, very specifically. All right, so Valerie says they'll have less pain in their body and mind, and they'll have social freedom and higher energy levels. Excellent. So as you start really thinking about those benefits, you'll be able to speak to their pain. Like, isn't it frustrating that you don't have the energy to go out and be social, and that all the pain in your body, right? Audrey says they would be able to provide needs of community with more money. Providing for the needs of the community, is that what you're saying? So they would earn more money. Okay. Is this in the school system, I'm guessing, right? Okay. So you're going to be really specific on that. Remember to go back to deep dive number 2 in the worksheet, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the other important thing here is to make sure that you're actually excited about what you're creating. Now, for most of us, we can create a product and launch it in 30 days. But then there's the ongoing taking care of that product or that group of people and nurturing it and promoting it. It's going to be a long journey. Well, usually at least 6 months, a year, 2 years. I always say to the authors that come, when they're creating their own book, you really need to be committed to that book for at least a year once it's out, if you really want to get the return on your investment in creating it. So I want you to really rate on a scale of 1 to 5, how excited are you to work on the problem that you've started to outline for this product that you're going to create? Because I've been in that position where I created something and I'm like, I'm no longer interested, which means you're not going to put the effort in to actually sell it and to get the reward on your time, right? So on a scale of 1 star means you're not very excited, whereas 5 means you're really pumped up. That's excellent. And again, we're going to be tallying these up as we go along. And now, what do you want to get out of this product launch? I want you to be specific. If it's money, then come up with a dollar, euro, krona, whatever, pound, whatever your currency is. How much money are you interested in making off of this product? So we have a target. Maybe you're creating a product, like say one of these freebies, a free video series or a free recipe or those birth affirmations, and your ideal outcome is to get people on your email list. You want to generate leads, or maybe you're looking to generate followers or subscribers to your YouTube or your Facebook or Insta. Maybe you want to launch this product so you can get people using it and get testimonials, because you know that's going to help your sales process. So what are the specific things that you want to get out of this so that you'll have a way to gauge your success and also to gauge which product you're actually going to choose? And maybe you're doing this because you want to gain experience so that you can truly feel confident that, okay, I've done this once, I've got it out there, I do know my stuff, and I have now confidence. Okay? So a lot of you are at 5. That's awesome. 3 to 4 stars for you, Raj. All right. So you got to work your way up. but a lot of you, yeah, 5 stars. And Audrey, does that light you up, helping schools get grant money? Does that give you a 5 star? And Lena says 5 stars plus, super excited. All right. All right. Awesome. So you are, yeah, I know, numbers are not very fun for most people, especially my woo-woo tribe. We just want to deliver love and light. How do you quantify love and light in the world and elevating consciousness? Well, and you, at some point, you've got to start thinking about the tangible things that you want to get back out of it, because otherwise you'll be in this constant state of creating without that sense of fulfillment. So maybe it's just you want to get a certain number of 5-star ratings, you know? So Isabella would like to decrease the amount of time that you spend on private clients so that you can create a program to reach more people, and then you have more time for your personal life. So that's great. I would suggest you take it to the next level. How much free time would you like to have? Or said in another way, how many days per week would you like to be working? So if you're saying that you'd like to decrease the amount of time on private in-person clients, are you saying that you would be maybe just 2 days a week is what you're looking at, so that you can transition to doing more of this virtual coaching or online courses? How much more personal time do you want? Quantify it. In other words, get specific. Like, do you want to take an extra month off on vacation, for example? Maybe you only want to work, you want Fridays off. A couple of years ago, I restructured my entire diary, as they call it over here, my day planner. And I stopped doing client work on 3 days out of the week. So in other words, I only do client work 2 days a week. That's because my high-end coaching program takes care of what I needed to take care of. Monday is my creative writing day, so that I can just write and do anything I want. That's usually because after the weekend where I've been in chill mode, ideas are flowing. You know, I go into meditation and I start getting ideas and downloads. So Mondays, I don't take clients, I don't take calls. I know, so every now and then someone sneaks in onto my schedule, but in general, it's my free day. And then Tuesdays and Wednesdays, those are the days that I do my coaching and my consulting with clients. And usually a teaching on Wednesday evenings for our personal branding bootcamp or for our global luminaries. I'll teach one evening every couple of weeks. Thursday, I'm typically editing videos or editing books. So again, it's not clients, but it's edit stuff. And Friday is my wellness day. I decided a couple of years ago, I'm not having burnout again. So I protect my Fridays. I keep it as my wellness day to either just go to the beach or get a massage or whatever. I can do whatever I want. So if you can get specific like that, knowing how many hours you want to work, how many clients you can take on, that's also going to help you when we get to the pricing. So when I ask you, what do you really want to get out of launching this product? The more specific we can be, the better. Okay, so very good. Hopefully this is helping. All right, so yes, some of you are saying you want to get out of this gaining experience. And no, it's not too cliche to say you're making a difference. That's why I ran this 6-day deep dive. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to at least be a positive force in this coronavirus pandemic, because some people are ready to take action. I know some people are still hiding under the covers with a spoon of ice cream and Netflix, but I've noticed some people in my tribe are like, I've got to do something. So that's what I'm here to do. All right. So Kati, you say you'll be very happy when you see results and when clients make progress. Okay, that's good, but is that going to be enough to sustain you? I want to get more specific. Raj, absolutely, to find out what you can do and what you're capable of. That's totally legit, especially for anyone who's transitioning into this new role as a coach or a consultant or a healer. it's good for you to look at that as an outcome, to prove to yourself that I got this. Yes. Shelley, absolutely. You want to establish your brand yourself as an expert in this area. Absolutely. And as you saw from the 5 stages of ascension, stage 3, coming up with your own unique intellectual property, whether that's a course, a signature speech, a book, some methodology that will elevate you in the eyes of the world as an expert. Awesome. Oh, sorry about that, Audrey. So it's nonprofits. So when you help nonprofits get money, did you answer my question about the stars though? Does that light you up, Audrey? Do you feel like super, super duper stoked to have that, on your agenda when you wake up in the morning? Because I really want that. I really want for everyone to be like, yeah, I'm waking up, living my destiny, living my truth, using my gifts and talents in a way that's meaningful so that you feel good about it. And yes, Raj, we're all part of the woo-woo clan here. Catherine, 5 stars. I'm so excited. And Alex, yeah, you want to get more experience and testimonials and begin to make some money? Absolutely. How do you value a successful, empowered birth? I would look at the opposite. You have worked with enough women, you've been around enough pregnancies, you know the drain that happens when you don't have an empowered birth. You know the rates of postpartum depression, you know the tension that it puts on the couple and the other children. So when you focus on what you're avoiding by having an empowered birth, according to your style, you will be able to arrive at that value. So Margareta says, you've heard of people spending $18,000 for a suite and private care in a hospital, but the experience was terrible. So there you get, should have just kept reading. There's a real number, 18 grand. Yeah, would you like to save 18 grand and actually have an experience that's memorable and you're better bonded with baby and da-da-da. So great. Very good, Kati, saying you'd like to earn 10,000 euros a month and have time to study to get your doctorate. Awesome, your doctor degree. And Valerie, you'd like to have 2 clients per week, and that would give you the time to focus since your type of Energy for Life course is intensive. Awesome. And yes, Raj, proving that you can be successful and not burnt out as you transition to becoming a digital nomad. Fabulous. So there's more. Gaining recognition, being seen as an authority, save time with selling and auto-generating money through an online course. Fabulous. All right, so good. So now that we're very clear on what you want to get out of it, let us move on to product format. Now, you have a specific outcome in mind that's addressing a specific problem. Now what we have to figure out is, in which format are you planning to deliver your solution? Is it going to be a book? Is it going to be a course? I know a lot of you are saying online courses. So type in, what is that format that you want to deliver? And it may be several, right? You might have a print book, an ebook, an online course, a group course, some in-person stuff, memberships. So just start making a list of all the ways you could envision delivering your solution. You may have already decided on one that you're like, it's going to be a video course online with Facebook groups to support it and maybe some live Q&A on Zoom. Totally fine. If you already have that, cool. Write it down. What is the format that you're thinking of delivering? Because after that, I want you to answer this. How skilled are you in that format? Now, a lot of you will feel like, I know that I need to be online because everyone else is doing it, and given what's going on with the pandemic, if I already had it online, duh, I'd be still making money. And that's fine. Now you want to answer, how skilled are you at that? Because you might have to skill up. You might have to level up some skills, which means we want to build that into your program so that you yourself have the time to either hire out those resources or learn how to do it. And I saw that one of our luminaries, Willow McIntosh, I mentioned him yesterday. He is hosting a masterclass on May 12th on how to create your own online course following the hero's journey and your own transformational process. And his team helps you with all the tech. So if you're not skilled at creating Kajabi or Teachable or Thinkific or Kartra, whatever you want to host your online course on, there are people that can do that for you. But because we want to be very conscious and wise, I'm asking you to do that now. Like, just write down, how skilled are you in the format that you're thinking of on a scale of 1 to 5. All right, so Margareta, you're already thinking of coaching, an online program, and an ebook. Excellent. Excellent. Awesome. Online course with one-on-one consultations. Perfect. And your one-on-ones could be in person or virtual, correct, Valerie? You guys have got to see what Valerie's up to. She's into this bioenergetics with a system called NES Health, NES. And a few years ago, I interviewed Harry Massey, who launched this company called NES, because he had been just completely bedridden with chronic fatigue, all sorts of weird symptoms, and the doctors in the UK couldn't figure it out. They're just like, oh, I don't know, it could be a virus, could be this, chronic fatigue. And then working with this doctor, the late Peter Fraser, they came up with this system to bring energy and alignment back into the body using something they call infoceuticals, meaning there's information in these, instead of pharmaceuticals, which is medicine, information in these little droplets of water. And so when I met them a few years back, I was like, this is so cool. And they actually have a technology that you can scan a patient, or now they actually have almost like a mouse where you can scan the bioenergy field of someone to see which bodily systems are off kilter. And a lot of it's in alignment with what I believe in, which is Chinese medicine. So it's super cool because now we can do things virtually, and there's great science backing up this concept of healing the energy field. And of course, you still include the basics. It's not like you're going to wave a magic wand. You still have to eat right, get sleep, hydrate yourself, get rid of the toxins. But I'm super excited to interview Valerie on what she's up to because it's so exciting. I digress. So Tammy's going to be doing membership and live training. Awesome. Online workshop and a membership. You've done them offline. Awesome. So great. So you'll be able to take your skills over to the online world pretty easily, I imagine. So Alex, you're thinking of a video course online, plus face-to-face group coaching and or one-on-one coaching. Sweet. And you would say you rate at a 1 on video courses, but a 5 at lives and face-to-face. Great. Well, if you're doing those videos live and you feel like your confidence level's at a 5, it's going to be easy for you to get to the video course. It's just a mindset thing. When you start to just look at the camera and just imagine that your audience is there, like, I can't see y'all, but I just feel like I'm connecting directly with you. I'm having a conversation directly with you, rather than thinking like I used to in the olden days, like everything has to be perfect. I should probably have a script and make everything perfect. As long as you have your bullets and you know what you're going to be talking about and you're organized, it'll be easier. And you'll see that what I'm going to suggest when we get to this point is I suggest that you do a beta test, a beta course, rather than trying to get it all perfect and then finding out that it's not even what people wanted. You can do a little bit of testing in the beginning. We're going to talk about how, and then you can even do a beta where you deliver it live, since you're already good at live, deliver it live. And then later, after you watch it back and you figure out what did people like, what did they have questions, what did they get hung up on, you could then record it and have it as a recorded online video course. All right? Sweet. So I think, Valerie, you must rate yourself as a 5-star because the course is available and you understand the tech and the systems. Awesome. Isabella, you want to do a book and have follow-up exercises with a support group on Facebook. Excellent. All of that is going to be excellent. And yes, 𝐓𝐔𝐄𝐃𝐾, I mentioned her yesterday with her archetype quest. She has worked with Willow on bringing her work to the online world. So she is, if you remember from yesterday, a Jungian psychotherapist who went from being an educator, she was a teacher, to creating her own books for the Dutch school system, to then creating her own coaching and consulting business, and now taking her work around the world through these archetype quests. So these different cards, I showed them yesterday, 𝐓𝐔𝐄. They're across the room now, so I can't reach them, but very good. And now she's bringing her certification program. So for those of you who don't yet have a thing and you want to get certified, if you're at all intrigued by Jungian archetypes and how you can tap into the subconscious and bring forth more of a person's authentic personality, 𝐓𝐔𝐄 is your woman. And I will be interviewing her as well. We have an interview booked for next week that I'll be sharing with the world. So, Tammy, you're going to be doing one-on-one coaching. Awesome. Kati, online courses, audios, writing a book, and you need more technical support, and you'd also like to do retreats. All right, so good. All right. So you're rating an 8 for books and public speaking and a 3 for online courses. All right, I think my scale was on a scale of 1 to 5. So Shelley, are you saying you rate an 8 out of 5? All right, so very good. I don't see any other questions. Okay, so we have a lot of you who are doing really good stuff. Great, so let's move on then. Shireen, you said you're thrilled about what women will create in the world when living for decades, embraced, supported by their inner life, and more than cultural restrictions. All right, sweet. So you are making progress. Good. Is this helping you think through some things that you might not have thought of before? I hope that you are feeling that. Okay. The next question on our worksheet is, what can you do to improve your skills? So literally make a list of it right now. Don't just leave it in your head. Like it may be just taking a course. It may be hiring someone. It may be finding an accountability buddy who's done it already and you just get to work together to level up your skills. But just be honest with yourself and make a list of what you can actually do to improve your skills if you were not a 5 or like Shelley, an 8 out of 5 on your skill set. All right? Awesome. Welcome to the party, Dr. Jill Stocker. Lovely to have you here. All right. And Margareta says, you never charge 18K. Well, maybe you should. I mean, you've got to start really thinking about the skills and the value. That's what I say. So what you need to do next is, now that you've got an idea, a product that you're looking to create that is solving a specific problem, delivering a specific but hopefully wonderfully juicy outcome, and you believe it's going to be fulfilling for you, whether that's emotionally, building your brand with testimonials, building your confidence, or making that money, now it's time to do some surveying. Before you go and start trying to create it, don't do that. Don't do that. You want to ask for some input. So what I suggest you do is create a survey. You can do that either via email. You can do polls on Facebook. You can make a survey through this free thing called SurveyMonkey and start finding out what people are really looking for and the problems or the pain they're really suffering with. We as experts, after a while, or we just come up with this idea and we think we know, but I want you to validate. I'm not saying you don't know, because you may do. You may well know. I'm asking you to validate it first. This is going to save you time and money and set you up for success. So if you asked people, what are the, all of the other treatments or solutions you've provided, what were they missing? What did you wish they had that those other products or other solutions or other coaches, therapists, and healers, what were they missing? Or what were the things that you could do without? That now that they've tried these other approaches, what do they think was just not even worth the time or money? And what would they maybe be willing to pay more for? So by doing this in something like SurveyMonkey, it'll create, or you could even do it in Google Docs, create your own survey, share it with the people that you know. You can also, if you don't have a big audience already, you can go to Facebook and join groups. You've got to start connecting with your target audience. So for most everyone here who has chimed in, maybe, I don't know about the whole nonprofits, but I'm sure you could find some group of nonprofit peeps who would love to, learn how to finally crack that nut of getting grant money. And you'd want to go into one of those groups and say, hey guys, I'm trying to find out what the biggest challenges are in your lives. What are the things that keep you up at night? Or, what have you tried to solve problem X, the problem that you have identified that you'd like to solve? All right. So create the survey. You'll see on the worksheet that I'm asking you to write down the date that you're going to have that complete. The only way we're going to get you to getting this done in 30 days or less is if we create a little bit more stringent, get it done. All right, so wonderful. So Margareta says you are interviewing dads on their experiences during childbirth and building a survey based on their answers. Awesome. That's exactly what you need to do. Perfect. All right, and what is this one? So Raj says, if we are asked to collaborate with friends or people now, but we still don't have our brand developed, would you take that type of opportunity? Well, it depends. You'd have to tell me a little bit more about it. Quite possibly, yes. I mean, whatever that collaboration is, it could actually help you build your brand. Because you're hopefully now going to take all this work you've done for the last 3 days and really bring it forth so that whatever you're creating, even in a collaborative environment, whether that's you with podcasting or hosting groups on Facebook or whatever, you're going to be showing up using your unique gifts and talents and really honing in on the language that other people are using as you're working through these things. And that's going to help you. But again, it depends on exactly what you're talking about. All right, so you're going to survey your audience. That's either the people that you already know who are on your email list, your friends on Facebook. If you're already in Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups, you can ask people for their support just to answer a survey. Let them know you're not trying to sell anything, and then get it out and write down the date by which you're going to have this done. You should have this done within the next 2 days. This has not got to be complicated. It does not have to be perfect. Remember, done is better than perfect. We want you to get out of that sort of perfectionism and rut of overthinking things and just put stuff out there. We're just getting a taste for what the market is up to. And once you've sent out your survey, you've collected all the data, I want you to start to analyze it. And what did you learn? You're going to be able to say by next week what you learned. And then you can go back to those people, and hopefully they've given you an email address, or you go back to that group and say, wow, you guys, thank you so much for all of your feedback. For those of you who answered my survey, here's what I learned. 80% of you are tired of problem X. 25% of you said you wish you had Y. So you're giving value back to that group by reporting what you learned. And you'd say, so now I'd really love to ask you something else. And that is, if you look on the worksheet, I've even written a little script for you where you're going to send this follow-up email and you're going to say, hey, I did this initial research and a lot of people tell me that they're struggling with problem 1. So I'm thinking of creating whatever your solution is. Online course, group coaching, membership platform, whatever it is that you're offering. I'm thinking of creating this program to help them achieve, insert the desired outcome. And then in your email, you say, on a scale of 1 to 5, how interested would you be in buying a product like that? Because now what you've done is you're not just saying, hey guys, I'm thinking of creating a birth program. Do you think it's a good idea? You're being super specific based on the feedback you got from the market. And I can tell you that the people that I've helped launch courses, and even in my own, missing this step of doing the market data is where our courses, especially in my case, fell flat. Because I was all in my mind like, oh, I know exactly what they need. But you can't come to it from an expert perspective. You've got to get into the mind and the heart and the body of your ideal client. And so this is a good way to do it. So LinkedIn and groups, Facebook groups. You can do this on your Insta stories or an Instagram post leading to a Google form or a SurveyMonkey thing. Twitter is a great place to do it because it's more of a hyperactive platform. If you're into that, just throw something out there using hashtags that are affiliated or are tied to the problem that you're solving or the group of people. And people, because it's just a short tweet, people reply pretty quickly. I know people who rely on Twitter for that kind of stuff. It's not my jam, but it is incredibly effective for getting fast, rapid fire feedback. So once you've done all of that emailing and such, then you're going to have a really good sense of what people really want and how interested they are. So now, maybe you had 3 or 4 different problems that you wanted to solve with that course, or different outcomes that you were aiming for. What you're going to do next week is tally up your results. You're going to be able to look at the problems that have the highest star ratings. So a high star in the number of people who have that problem, high stars in your confidence that you have the ability to solve it, high stars that people are actually interested in that, and high stars that you're actually going to get what you want out of it, whether that's money, credibility, experience, testimonials. So in other words, next week, when you start to add all of that up, you're going to look at all those product ideas that you had. Maybe it's only one, that's fine. You may need to tweak. And whichever one had the highest star rating, that's going to be the one that you focus on. Yes, you may eventually develop all those other ideas you had, but I'm inviting you to focus on one so that you can launch it in under 30 days. So that at the end of May, you've got a product launched, because then you'll have feedback. You'll have feedback as to, was it good? Was it actually serving the purpose? How was your marketing? Maybe you're going to work with Monica and get your copy straight so that it's engaging and all of that. But you can't evaluate it if it's in your head. If you're the only one evaluating it, you're screwed. We need other people to evaluate it. They're not going to be evaluating you if you engage them in the process with humility. All right? So that's what we want to do by next week. You want to have done this survey, done this good work at the market research, outlined the problem, the program format, and found out who is actually interested in that. And whichever one has the highest rating, then we're going to move on to actually outline the steps and milestones. We did a little bit of this yesterday, so if what you did in our intellectual property still fits the bill, it's got enough of the right stars, great. Then you know your starting point of where your client comes in, what is their pain, what is their state of being, and where is that beautiful outcome you intend to deliver, and what are the steps that you take them to get them to that destination. What are the milestones that they will see that can give you the sort of checkpoint like I gave you yesterday in our other deep dive? And that's going to help you create your product. So with each step, you can break it down into, what do I need to do to get them to those milestones? So that way you don't overthink it. Don't go trying to write too much stuff. First, just get the outline and all of the little bullets under each of those steps and milestones. That's going to help you get rid of all of this fear of, oh my God, I've got to create a course. If you're already thinking, I've got to shoot the videos, I've got to write the script, and you're going to stay in your head and you're not going to do it. So by next week, you will have done your market research and you'll be ready to take what you've learned and create that outline for the product that is going to actually serve your needs. Is this making sense? Are y'all still with me? If you are just tuning in for the very first time, welcome. I am Dr. Andrea Pennington, and you are watching 6 days of live deep dive business training where we are talking about personal branding and product launches and group courses and stuff. And today in particular, we are talking about how to choose, how to, like, out of all the brilliance in your brain and all the things you could do, how do you choose which one, which we've just gone over? How do you test that concept, this market research? And then how do you create it and launch? That's what today is all about. So we're going to keep moving forward. Welcome if you're just joining us. I'm going to tune into some of the questions. All right. Thank you, Shireen. She says, if anyone needs a hand accessing networks for not-for-profits in the UK, she's happy to help. So there you go, Audrey. There you have it. All right, Raj, it's a mind, body, spirit discussion on a friend's podcast. Do it. Do it. The more you talk about things, the more you're going to feel confident that you can. And then you get feedback. You know, the podcast host is vibing with you. That's feedback. Later, you'll start to see if people are commenting on that, or that's feedback. Anything we can do to put things out into the world that will give us feedback instead of letting it stay in our head and on some notebook where you're just planning stuff, the better. All right. Wonderful. All right. So Alex is asking, would you include your projected cost or price? You mean when you email the people, Alex? You could, if you're at that stage, you certainly could. I would, depending on how the audience is, you don't want to bug them. I've already asked you to send 2 requests. The first one is just to validate the idea and get a sense for what they've already tried and what they are wishing for and what they're critiquing of what already exists. And then you send a follow-up to say, this is what I learned. This is what I'm looking to create. If your audience is open to maybe a third, then you could say, hey, I'm thinking of offering it not once you have it outlined. So the next step would be after next week where you've got it outlined, you could say, hey, based on all of this research and based on my expertise, I've decided to create an online course that's going to have 6 video modules that takes you over a 6-week journey to get to destination Y. So these people will be able to leave behind problem A and B and C. So I've decided to price this program at price X. I know, X, Y, Z, anyway. So if you had that kind of confidence that you could, then I would send it back out to them. And then that's one way of testing it. But don't worry, we're going to share with you the other ways that you can do price testing. So it depends on your audience. So Isabella is asking, would you share a person's info who is teaching the technical part? What do you mean? Do you mean the 𝐌𝐿𝐿, who I just mentioned a little while ago? What do you mean by teaching the technical part? If that's what you mean, 𝐿𝐿𝐿 is hosting an event on May 12th on how to create online courses. And he does teach a lot of the tech, and his team will take over the tech if you don't want to do the tech. So if you don't like the idea of programming and all of that, then yes. Okay. All right, so where are we now? So next week you will have your steps and milestones outlined. And next you'll be able to make a list of all the resources you need. What do you need to actually create the product? So some of the resources you're going to need. You're going to need a website. Some of you might just want a simple landing page. You're going to need an email host so that you can interact with your new clients. Of course, what else are you going to need? What are the other resources you're going to need? Time. So we've been talking about if you're in the middle of doing training or getting a degree, you may not have the time. So you really want to be clear, though, on what are those resources that you will need and what will the total cost be. So Alex was asking about costs. We're going to start getting into the way I would think through your pricing is also looking at what does it cost you. So what are the costs for you? So on your worksheet, you can't do that today probably. As you're doing this research though, you can start to add up all of the things that it's going to cost. This is going to help you decide what you charge for so that you can make sure that you're getting the return that you want. So Amaka says, you did a survey last year asking wives to list their 3 major issues in their lives. 40% said work-life balance, 30% said communication, and then others, and then there were others, and you created a course for those 2 issues. So a course around work-life balance and communication. So awesome. If you've already done the research, then move forward, my dear friend. So if communication is one of those hot button issues, awesome, fabulous. All right. What if you are called to produce something controversial? Is that what you're saying? Called to produce is controversial. It brings up trauma in your own family. Have you ever been in that situation? And how did you push through the resistance and fear related to disappointing loved ones? Well, the first thing I would say to that is make sure that you're healed first, because anytime we share our personal experiences, even if you are quote unquote healed, it's most likely going to feel a little tender. And if you haven't dealt with it, it's going to make it even more challenging to interact with your family, because it may bring up feelings of betrayal, like how could you put our business out there, and those sorts of things. It is a very delicate and fine line to walk. Not everyone's ready to do that. For me, I thought long and hard before I did that first TED Talk, because I got comments like, oh, you can't blame your father for this. And I'm like, I'm not blaming him. We're good. But some people take it that way. I would make sure, 1, that you are in a good space. And 2, if your family isn't aware that you are about to come out with it, you might want to have that conversation first. Some of the people here have participated in some of our group books. And the last couple of books, one was Life After Trauma. The one before that was Time to Rise. These are group books where people are allowed to share a story. They come through our writer training, Stories with Soul, and then they share a story that's true from their personal life of how they've overcome a situation. And there were a number of stories that are about trauma. And for many of them, I can remember, and there was a book before that called Turning Points that we did in 2 languages. Did it in Danish, vendepunkter, and in English. And there were people who did come out and said, oh my God, the firestorm that I've gotten from my family. Other people have got phone calls from their family like, oh my God, I didn't know you went through that. So it depends. There's no way that I can know that ahead of time. But we do have group books coming up. So if you have an interest in sharing a story, for anyone out there who feels like you're healed enough, one of our group books is called Holistic Healing, where we're inviting people, either you're a healer and you have an approach to help people heal holistically, or you're someone who you went through an illness and through a holistic approach you healed. It's going to be a beautiful book. I will try to show you the book cover because I'm so in love with our designers. They're just amazing. But that would be one way that I would say you can test the waters, by sharing in a group book process, and then letting people know, what they're actually going to be getting, what the family is going to be seeing. I don't think I have the small version of the book to show you. Dun dun dun! Co-author our next book. Dun, dun, dun. So super excited. So you've seen Shelley Thomas here in these last few days. We have some amazing contributing authors. So excited about that. All right, so let's get back to you, my friends, where we are today. So where by next week, you should be able to have a list of what the costs to bring that program to life are going to be. And then after you come up with the costs, then you can really start looking at how long is it actually going to take. I want you to do this exercise because many people come to me and then they think, oh yeah, I'm going to get this done in 6 weeks. I've got my plan, and they don't take into account that life happens, kids happen, energy happens. So I want you to imagine how long it's going to take once you really do know each of these steps, because that is going to be crucial. I don't want you to get bogged down in those steps, because the whole concept behind doing this and getting it launched in 30 days, the whole concept is you're going to get experience and feedback that will give you greater confidence. So don't go into perfectionism. If there is some big mama of a course that you want to charge thousands for, don't let that be the first product you launch. Launch a freebie so that you go through this entire process. And I guess I probably need to move us on so that we can keep getting through these steps. Does that make sense? Now, as you're doing your market research, you want to look at similar products on the market and find out what they cost. What are the typical solutions that your target audience is already into? What are they trying and what do they cost? So if you did your initial research by asking in groups on LinkedIn and Facebook, or on your Insta stories or Twitter, or your email list, or just your friends and family, you're asking them to find out what have you currently tried? What are the things that have been most helpful, and what should we totally stay away from? Then you can go and you can do the research on what have people paid for those kinds of programs. Make sense? So Crystal asks, for the initial survey, is it better to ask open-ended questions or specific answer options plus other? In the very, very, very beginning, if you have, Crystal, have you told us today which specific problem are you looking to solve with your first product? What is that problem? Because I would say, surveying people, you're going to keep it kind of open-ended, but I would ask them specific questions but I wouldn't make it just a tick box, unless it's specific. You'll need to tell me. But I would say, what are the situations that you're currently struggling with? What have you currently tried, and what's working for you? What has worked for you? What are the things that haven't worked for you? You just need to tell me and be very, very specific. Awesome, Raj. Yes, I will share the link for our book process. And then tomorrow is how to write a book, although it can work for a whole book or our group book, but our group book process is meant to help you get branded. So absolutely, would love to have you as part of that. And that's very interesting, Margareta, that you're finding out that they're not charging very much for birth courses online. Don't let it discourage you. Just start doing your research, okay? Because if you find that the market is typically buying little inexpensive things, then out of your long journey, you may focus on one product that you price low, test that out, get people engaged, and then you move them up to a higher level product. This works really, really well in fitness and health and nutrition. You give people a low-priced product that gets them into your world and your methodology, and then you step it up. Now, there are other people who just say, start with the big mama of a program, and then you can downsell. But I know that confidence is an issue with many of the people that are hanging out here, so I don't want to make this any harder for you at all. Yes. All right. So, Batanayi. Wonderful. So I'm glad that this is helping. You'd like to offer customized courses for professionals and teams at tech companies. Great. So now all you need to do is tell us what is the problem you're solving and what is the outcome you're looking to deliver. So Crystal says, solving the problem of them feeling like they've plateaued in their business by helping them establish a process. Okay. All right. So the problem is they've plateaued. They're going to, with you, create a process that is going to deliver an outcome. So you just need to be specific about that outcome. All right, cool. So we're making some good progress. So you're going to consider all of the solutions that your ideal customer has already tried, just to start researching what is the cost of those programs. Loud motorcycle out there. All right. And the next thing is thinking back on the goals that you'd set. You'd already set goals for the amount of revenue you want to generate, right? Maybe you're trying to, like we've heard some people, replace your in-person work as a healer or therapist coach to just moving online. So if you were to eliminate 1 day per week of what you used to do, and that has a dollar or pound or euro amount attached to it, or kroner, now you want to find out, okay, how many units do I have to sell of my product, whether it's priced at 100 or 200, to replace the revenue or the income that I used to get over there, right? So how many do you need to sell to reach your goal? Now, you should bear in mind that we're not going to get into all of the technicalities. That's a whole nother training. But when you start to sell things online, we call that e-commerce. And what we need to be mindful of is certain standards. And in the e-commerce world, we recognize that traffic landing onto a website for good conversions, I'm going to start throwing jargon at you, but conversions are people who come, who either opt in and then eventually become a sold customer. People are typically getting sales in the range of 2 to 3% based on the traffic volume. So what you're eventually going to need to do, whatever website or landing page you set up, you're going to want to have it giving you some analytics. If it's your own website, like with Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, you're going to get yourself a Google Analytics account. It's free for the basics, so that you can start seeing what kind of traffic you're generating. Because maybe you don't like numbers and figures, I know, but you'd want to get a sense for, all right, how much traffic am I getting? And if I'm, getting 1,000 visitors on my website, according to the industry standards, 2 to 3% of them should convert into sales. So then you can test. And if you find that you're not getting that number, then we can start to do some diagnostics to figure out why. And part of diagnostics means we're going to look at numbers. Make sense? All right, so you'll have to start figuring out how many units you need to sell. On the worksheet, I gave you a link to this really good article about pricing, which I know from my healers and lightworkers who hate charging money, it's going to help you come out with figuring out a price strategy. All right, so I'm going to pop back in to see what y'all are talking about in here. What could have gone wrong that products created from the results of a survey done didn't do well? Okay, I'm going to tell you that exactly right now. So what we are going to be covering a little bit of on Thursday is how to create offers. So let's see, if you're just tuning in, we're on day 4, which is how to test and launch. And deep dive number 5 is how to write a book and get it published in 90 days or less. And then deep dive number 6 is all about how to create your irresistible offer. So sales offers are very important. You'll see that on the last page of today's, not the last page, but on the 9th page of today's worksheet, there is a funnel diagram. Have you all seen that? I'm going to see if I can bring it up on screen for you. How many of you already know what a funnel is? Any of you? Anybody know what a funnel is? See if I can find my funnel. Anybody know what's a funnel? What's a funnel? What's a funnel? So here's what you can expect. So this is typically what we expect in a sales sequence. So a funnel, as you know, is kind of shaped like this. And at the top, that's the whole universe of traffic that you could possibly imagine you'd want to attract. But as I've shared with you, you're going to narrow down your niche so that the right people are coming through that. So with the top of the funnel, we're going to hopefully attract people to what we call an opt-in. An opt-in page can just be one simple basic website with very little on it, a landing page as we call it. I'm going to show you some examples. Or it can be a pop-up. And typically what you're going to want to do is offer something for free. That free thing could just be a video series teaching about your process or your methodology. So after they opt in, meaning they give their email address because whatever you're promising to give them seems so worth it, they get to a thank you page, and then they get to video 1, where you're typically wowing them. It's usually the most emotionally enticing video. And then your video 2, which can come anywhere from 2 to 4 days later, you're giving them more information on kind of how your process is different. Video 3, even more of the technical stuff, but now you're kind of overcoming the intellectual objections. So this is what I do in our product launch synergy group. I lead people through creating their entire funnel process and launching. So I can't go through all of it, but I'm giving you the framework. And what I do highly recommend is that you get these couple of books right here. Good old Russell Brunson, Expert Secrets, .com Secrets. If you like my teaching style, I'm glad, you will probably find that Russell is a good teacher as well. He has been really helpful in the way that I teach my luminaries and the way that I've set up my business, because like me, he has gone out and worked with the best of the best in copywriting and marketing secrets and scripting and all of that, and distilled it down into easy to follow formats. So I really do like the way that he teaches. I find that it's ace. So if you're at the beginning of just learning, did we drop on, sorry guys, I'm just realizing that maybe YouTube has dropped out. Is that true? Anybody still on YouTube? I think maybe, okay. You may have to refresh the page. I think that's what's happened on my side of things. You basically are going to be luring people in. So we talk about that first step being a freebie, some lead magnet that's going to attract people to give up their email address so that you can engage in a conversation. And what that's going to do is allow you to build a sense of recognition. So have anybody ever heard that there are 3 things that you need before people buy? Thank you for letting me know. YouTube is here. Tell me, has anyone ever heard this, that before someone buys from you, they need to something, something, and something you? Anybody know that marketing concept? Before anyone will buy from you, they need to what? Type in the chat if you've ever heard that marketing thing before. I'm going to pop into the chat myself and give you some links. I'm hustling here, trying to do what Sarah normally does for me. I'm on solo tonight. Okay, so let's see. Has anybody come up with those things? Yes, my super rock stars over there. Yes, Shelly, people need to know, like, and trust you. That is what all of the good marketers have said. And so in your beginning stage as a new coach or as a new brand, whatever you are as a personal brand, your job is to establish a sense of trust and likability. That's why I say you need to become an authentic personal brand, sharing what's unique about you, because that's what draws us in from the heart and the soul, not being copycat or too slick, because that's not going to bypass the mental filters of trust is like at the end. So if you look at this diagram that I have there, you could almost look at those 3 first videos. Video number 1 is helping them get to know you. So you might be sharing a little bit of your personal story and how you've arrived at this insight on how you're healing methodology, was first delivered to you. So that's going to help them get to know you. And then sharing some of the success stories, maybe in video 2, that shows people what's possible for them and how you've been able to do it. Well, then they might realize, wow, you're really likable. And then by the end of it, when you're showing how it can work for other people and you've built that up, you're building in the trust factor. So some people say that you have to have a dozen touch points with someone before they'll spend money. And that could be touch points as in, they've seen an ad here. Back in the olden days when I worked in television, we had this 4x4 concept where people needed to see an ad in 4 places. So like on television, on the radio, in print, and then maybe word of mouth. Times have changed. Everything now is online. So that's why we have all these retargeting campaigns where you might see something on Facebook, and if you looked at it or clicked on that video, then you've been pixeled, and now they can follow you everywhere with good retargeting, such that now that when you're on your iPad or you're watching something else on someone else's website, there's a banner ad at the top. And that's because you want to have this consistent exposure. So this is what the typical funnel sequence looks like. And generally, this is only showing you 3 emails, but with the system that I use, don't be overwhelmed. There are 10 emails, literally. So we typically will take people through, and I give people scripts so that you're not doing this all on your own. You've got it kind of built in, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But that's what you can expect, coming up with that kind of a content. So would you like to see some examples, or have you been online enough that you know what these things look like? Would anyone like to see some? I've lost my chat window. Where's my chat window? Tell me if you would like to see them. Dun, dun, dun. How did I lose my chat window? Are y'all still there? Somebody type in the chat so that it will pop up back on my screen. Yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, good. So thanks for just chiming in. So I'm gonna see if I can do this. I wasn't actually prepared for this today. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. Sorry for me being I'm gonna share my screen, and there we go. So on this screen, you can see this is actually an opt-in. And in this version of opt-in, I have a video there. And yes, ClickFunnels is another way that you can create your opt-in page. And the guy whose books I just showed you, he is the creator or co-founder of ClickFunnels. So on this opt-in page, we start with a video, but you could have it as basic as just having a description and an opt-in form. This little box over here is what we call a form that's just going to take their email address and their name. So let's see if I can show you what happens. It might be that I'm already registered, but just by popping in your name and your email address, dun, 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 it takes you to the thank you page. And in my case, this thank you page is going to help you start your life writing journey. Now, this is a freebie to help people reprogram their mind if they've found that they are in victim mentality. And on this particular type of a freebie, I just wanted people to know that there's a 5-step process to take back your power. So there's a video that they can go through. There's a worksheet that helps them come up with their life chapters and their timeline of events. They can even get the audio instructions so they can hear me describing exactly what they're going to do. And then there's their first assignment where they're going to be writing about a low point in their life. And this is taken from the research that I've been doing over the last 15 years. And then the next part of their journey, They summarize some lessons. I've even included guided meditations. So they're getting even more free stuff as a value. And part of the meditation is actually here as well. So if they want to just stay on that page, they can, but they can click a button and get those things downloaded. And it was also sent over via email to them. So they can instantly have access to it without having to think about, staying on that page. So that is one version of a freebie that I've offered. This one I'm actually not selling anything now. I did it, I think I shared this with you all, for those of you who've been here for a couple of days. I was interacting with someone who was really stuck in victim mentality. And it was one of those things where I was like, well, I know that they see my content online all the time, so I'm just gonna pop something out there. It ended up helping hundreds of other people. So I should probably go and figure out what the analytics are. This particular system that I use is called Kajabi. I guess you guys have probably seen that already. And in Kajabi, it has all of the analytics that we want. It does all of the Facebook pixeling so that you can follow people all over the place. I haven't really started doing that just yet, but it has the capability. But what it gives me the opportunity to do is, one, I get to demonstrate who I am, some of my expertise, the approach that I take to reprogramming the subconscious mind and helping my clients, feel more bliss in their life by getting rid of some of the trauma. So by having their email address, it means that I can email them later. As you know, I try not to abuse you. This week has been a little different with all of the emails for this particular thing. But in general, they're not getting spammed by me. I happen to be on the side of thinking that you just really need to only send an email if you're actually delivering some sort of value to them. And so for me, that's what I'm doing. Now they will get an email if it's related to anything about victim mentality or life writing. Now, eventually, when it's time for our program called Stories with Soul, which is an online course, well, it's also in person. Normally, people fly here, we host them in France, we deliver this 2-day training, and it's also live cast over the web so that people in other countries, if they've bought the course or they're one of the authors in our book, they get access to this 2-day training. So in a couple of weeks, I will be able to email to all the people who've taken part in this victim mentality life writing exercise, just to let them know, hey, if you found that helpful, there's a whole course that can help you really unlock your hero potential. So that's just one example of a way that you can get people, give them something that's attractive to opt in on. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen I had Insta stories when that first came out, and there's an Instagram post on it, and all of that leads people to click and sign up. All right, so all right, so there's a couple of things I've got to get to, and then maybe Raj, if there's time, I will get to a recap of yesterday. But I thought it would be useful for me to at least share with you what you need to be thinking of pre-launch, during launch, and post-launch. That be helpful for you? You'll get it in the slides. It's in the worksheet already. Let me know. I know we've been here for going on 2 hours. So let me know if you want me to go through that or if it's self-explanatory to you just by looking at the worksheet. How you can scale into millions of revenue is the question that Raj had. Okay. Let's see. Batanayi has a question. Does including illustration characters in the branding package have a positive effect on the appeal of my product? On the appeal of my product and on the target buyer? It depends on your product. It really depends on the product. If you were trying to sell some high-end tech thing, probably Well, even then, it depends. Depends on your audience. So it depends on what you're selling and what the target audience is. Having cartoon characters, like a lot of people, for example, in their videos, if you don't want to be on camera, some people don't. I recommend you at least be on camera a little, but a lot of people do explainer videos where they've got little hand-drawn doodle characters and things like that. I like focusing on real humans, depending on what the issue is that you're fixing. But yeah, you'd have to let me know. And Margareta, you say you're having trouble with your birth affirmation downloads. I don't remember. Were they just text? They weren't audio downloads, right? It's been a while since I've been on your site. They're written, if you use Google or Dropbox, Google Drive, I would just have them there and then have MailChimp, when it sends out the thank you for opting in, have the link to that affirmation. Because if it's not being easily found and delivered through WordPress, the workaround is just to store it elsewhere. And you know, most people, they're audio, then yes, then save them through either Google Drive or Dropbox, whichever one you prefer to use. That's what I would suggest you do. All right, so do you have, everyone have their worksheet? Do you want me to bring up the slides on the screen for the last part? Because it's not, I don't have a slideshow for it because it's a lot of just words. MailChimp and WordPress. Yeah, so Margareta, I would just pop it over into the land of Google Drive. That's what I eventually did with mine as well. All right, so when I gave people the audiobook for free. So when I published The Orgasm Prescription for Women, which is a great book, but even better to listen to, I created the audiobook, and it's on Audible and iTunes officially, but I still have the rights to it to offer it to other people for free. So what I did is I ran a promotion saying, if you buy the book, whether you buy Kindle or the print book, I'll give you the audiobook for free. So all they had to do was enter their information with their email, and I gave them the link where the audiobook is stored on Google Drive, and they can just download it themselves. So that is what. All right, so I will bring the launch materials up on screen so that you can see it. Let me get myself back into Ecamm Live. For those of you who have wondered what I'm up to, this is where I'm doing it. It's on this program called Ecamm. All right, so now you can see the launch sequence, right? So pre-launch, your goal here is to build anticipation. So you don't wait till, okay, May 30th, I'm going to have my product out there. Well, in the pre-launch phase, you want to start building anticipation. So drop little hints on your social media. You should be letting people know that it's in the works. It'll be easier when if you are mentioning this in groups and doing all of the research. You create buzz by letting people know that, hey, you know, a little selfie as you're working on the writing, or if there are illustrations or you're working on the website, take a picture of it, share it to your social media, share it in your email newsletter. You want to build that buzz so that people are already thinking about it, and it will absolutely drive more sales before the product actually comes out. Now, in the pre-launch phase, you also need to create a landing page. So a landing page could be really basic, or it could be really fancy, but it just needs to have at least a buy button, or again, it could be an opt-in. So I think I will show you some examples. Hang on. I will show you. So will somebody pop, where are you, Amaka? Are you on, You're on YouTube. If you should be able to go to YouTube and see the link pinned in the comments. If not, would somebody give her the link to download the worksheet, please? All right, I'm going to take you to, let's see, what will I take you to? I'm going to take you to another website and show you a book. So whatever your product is, it doesn't have to be a book, it could be anything. This is a basic page that helped to promote and launch this book, The Orgasm Prescription for Women. And on it, you see that what just popped up? That little pop-up offered people to get a free sample of the book. So just by giving their name and their email address, they could get the first chapter of the book free. So even before the book was ready, like for Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all of the other places, I had it done so I could offer people the first chapter. This little pop-up, which came from our email marketing system called ConvertKit, this little thing would pop up and they would get the first chapter of the book for free. Let's see. I haven't been there in a while. Oh, well, because of GDPR, we now have to get people to consent. So as you can see, it's actually sent them an email. So it sends you an email to get to the bonus content. But on this page, I gave them some background information about the book. They got to read my bio, a little bit of social proof, showing some icons of places I've appeared, and then people who reviewed the book for me, who were kind enough to review it and leave testimonials. And then I included videos to help people understand the insights behind it and even the 21-day program that goes with the book. And then the week that we launched, I happened to get lucky. My PR firm got me on ITV, which is in the UK, and they have a show called This Morning with Phil and Holly, and I got to talk about why women should orgasm 3 times a week. So this is kind of extensive. Obviously, you know me, I'm a little more extensive, but you could have done something just like the other one where I showed you just the little short opt-in form. Or for those of you that saw the masterclass that I did 2 weeks ago, which was all about how healthcare providers could launch an online business, it was really basic as well. So in other words, when you are in the pre-launch phase, what you want to be able to do is generate buzz and interest. So you create a landing page about your new product, and then you create an email campaign that's going to encourage people to buy that product. Now in the beginning, you may not have much, and that's okay. It might just be 3 emails. If you join our Synergy program, you'll have all of it laid out for you. But you're basically just going to build a relationship. Now also in the pre-launch phase, before your product is ready, if you happen to know of any bloggers, influencers, or journalists, it'd be really great if you could reach out to them and let them know that this product is coming. Maybe some of them will if they've already been following you or you make it sexy enough for them, they might be willing to tease about this product, saying, oh, I got a sneak peek at this, or I got to go through, this 6-step process for X, Y, and Z. That can be really helpful for generating buzz, because you don't want to only have buzz at launch. You want to build up that relationship and familiarity. If you feel like you're ready to do press, then having a PR firm create a press release that can have even the media talking about your product, that would be great. That's for more traditional stuff. Granted, I realize some of you who are just building a new brand, you might not have something that's really ready for big time media, but it doesn't hurt to create a press release. You can still send it out. There are services online where you can send out a press release, and some of these people will pick it up. And then there's this service called HARO, Help a Reporter Out is what it stands for, HARO. And many times they're on Twitter and they'll use the hashtag HARO, looking for someone who is a menopause expert. Tell them to PM me. Looking for someone who knows how to heal cancer holistically. Click this link to get in touch. Or, hey, I'm working on a story for Stylist Magazine and I need someone who's really good at color combinations for makeup tutorials. So there are ways that you can start to create buzz, and then when you do get a press hit, you make sure that in your little bio, you say author of or creator of the upcoming XYZ course, product, whatever. Make sense? So even if you think you're just a little person, you should still go through this process because it's going to help you grow. And depending on your budget, if you have ad money to spend and you're somewhat qualified or you've taken the time to learn ads, I would suggest you generate as much traffic, even if it's just to your freebie. It doesn't necessarily have to be to the actual costly product. In fact, I'd rather you spend money because it's lower cost per acquisition if you're trying to drive traffic to your free offer. That way you get those people on your email list and they also get a little pixel so that when you do retargeting ads, it brings the cost down lower as well. So depending on your budget, assign a little bit of money to ads to either drive people to your freebie or to the product itself. And the earlier on that you start creating the content based on what we did on days 1 and 2 of these deep dives, using the exact language of what pain your product is solving or what outcome you're delivering based on the problems they have, that's going to be great. And then if you do have images, this would be the time to have some of that ready to go as early as possible. All right, so let me answer some of your questions. Oops, that was not what I intended to do. Flip that around. All right, so now getting to some of your questions. Does this launch buzz necessarily have to have some controversy? Well, back in my days of teaching media training, depending on what your product is about, I would say yes. Only because we already know this, and unfortunately it's even worse today. If you're trying to get people's attention, emotion is typically what's going to get us. So if it's not some surprising or shocking thing, like that TV interview I did, based on what I did in America on Dr. Oz, where I went on this show, we were talking about I think the top symptoms that women should never ignore, women over 40 should never ignore. And one of the symptoms is low libido. And as I was talking to the producers, I told them that I want my clients to have at least 3 orgasms a week. And that's a diagnostic thing, because if you're not having that much ecstatic bliss, there are clues about your health. Sorry, the dog wants to get off of my lap. Okay, so for us, having that controversial, wait, did that doctor just say? And yes, when I went on to the morning show in Great Britain, Dr. Oz, if you see the clip, when I mentioned the orgasms at Dr. Oz, the audience started clapping. When I said it in Great Britain, it was like, oh my God, sorry for the accent, but did that doctor just say orgasm? It's not even noon. I have children in the house. It was controversial. But do you know what happened? It was the week of my birthday. I did that morning show, and then I got on a flight back here to Nice. And when I turned on my iPhone as we landed, I had this message come in from my publicist saying, congratulations, your book just hit #1. And that's the power of the media. And that's the power of having a little controversy and spice. I know that they put me on because it was a controversial topic, but it depends on what you've got going on. You do want to create some sort of curiosity or piquing their interest or their emotion to draw people into your product. And that's why I say we can't just say, please come buy my product to have more love and light in the world. That may be your intention, and at the heart of it, that's my intention too. But that's not enough to get people to click, and it may not be enough to get the media to put you on. Okay, all right. Let me get back to your questions. Do I have a preference between website hosters? Those are more like builders, Raj. So WordPress, Wix, or Squarespace. I'm a WordPress girl. I love WordPress. You can also do your blog through Kajabi and Kartra. But I like WordPress. I like it for all of the functionality. My daughter loves Wix and she loves Squarespace for the aesthetic, but she's more of a graphic designer, so that's her thing. Should we have a website even if we're unclear on our brand? No, I wouldn't start launching that yet. I mean, it seems like right now where you are, you're still doing professional training and work over there. Go ahead and do that podcast with that associate and just start working through these core elements of who you are and what you stand for. Do this exercise with us of coming up with, if I were to launch a product, even if you're not going to actually do it yet, go through the process, because this is going to help you clarify who you are and what you stand for. And then you might come away with that umbrella, overarching term of what you stand for. And that will inform the kind of website that you create. And all of that's in the Personal Branding Bootcamp. So if you at least do the 10 days of bootcamp and go through each of those video modules, you'll get all of the clarity you need on your brand, period, if you do the work. I can't do it for you. All right. Oh, thank you, Jat. I'm always afraid to do my little British thing now because I don't want to offend all of my British fans. I love you all dearly, but sometimes it just comes out. Okay, fabulous. Okay, all right. Now, shall I get back to? Let me get back to the slides. Oh my gosh, I am just. It's getting late. I think I'm getting a little punchy. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you again. All right. Here we go. So that's pre-launch. Now, once you actually get to your actual launch, you should be promoting this product everywhere. So on your landing page, in your email campaigns, on social media, you need to be networking in all of those LinkedIn groups and Facebook groups, encouraging all of your friends and family members to be spreading the news. You want to have it as everywhere as you can be. And if you've been building up this sort of anticipation, it should be great because it's going to feel like a payoff. The audience is going to be like, oh yeah, I have been hearing about that. Click, let me get that. Or at least let me sign up to find out what you're talking about. So when you're in the promo stage, we talked about having that opt-in landing page for some sort of a free offer. Then you're in that email sequence, which in my system, there's 10 emails. It could be fewer. But that sequence is going to keep people engaged. It's not just about the product. You get to entertain and educate them. And then after video 3, they get the offer. And so you'll see this product launch funnel if you do end up getting these books, Expert Secrets or .com Secrets. And now Russell has coming out, next week or the week after next? The third book in this trilogy is called Traffic Secrets, which I bought on pre-order because I'm like, I love the way he teaches. It has transformed the way I do business. And it's taken all of the sleaziness out of sales. In fact, if you're with me on Thursday, I'll be sharing what I learned from Russell and how to make offers. So that video number 4, for example, that's your offer. And there's a whole script to it. So it makes it really, really easy for you. So that is what you can expect if you do things, I won't say right as in there's a right and a wrong, but it's kind of the tried and true way of establishing trust. Now, if you've already been out there posting a lot on social media, if you have an established brand, or you have a great email list where people already know you, like you, and love you, then it'll be very easy for you to just send them an email saying, hey, that new book I told you about, it's out. Hey, my new course is out. Do you know anyone struggling with problem X? Well, my course is going to deliver solution Y using my proprietary signature method, whatever that name is. But even after you launch, don't just stop there, because this is where most people give up and they wonder like, well, why didn't I have a lot of great results? Well, it's because you lost momentum. Just because you put it out there doesn't mean everyone's going to buy it on the first week. So you have to keep up your momentum, sharing. And then somebody asked about this. How do you know what went wrong? So if you can start to look at the metrics, like how much traffic did you get to that page and how many of them opted in or converted? If you're using something like ClickFunnels or Kajabi or Kartra, it's got all the analytics built in. You go into your dashboard and you can see the conversion rates. And then the way that you figure out, well, why didn't people? You can ask people. So if you got people into your email system based on the freebie, you can ask them, hey, I noticed you didn't buy the book. Well, that is if you have it tagged such that you can tell who buys and who doesn't. Follow up with the people who weren't quite ready to find out why. Maybe they're just not in need anymore, or it didn't speak to them. And one of the things that I recommend is that you really get clear on the ad. So even if it's not an ad that you're paying money for, how did that opt-in page look? Did it have an engaging headline? Did it have a clear and tangible promise or outcome? What is the value proposition? Because if it's not clear, then people are not likely to give up their email address. Are all of the tangible benefits for the customer, were they clearly outlined? So those are the first things. So you're going to be looking at the ad copy itself, the copy itself on that landing page or on that ad, the images. Sometimes certain images perform better than others. I highly recommend that you be in the images rather than using like stock people to sell, hey, look at my course on getting free. No, you need to become a personal brand because people want to buy from a credible expert, but not some random person that we don't even know. All right. And then you might look at the follow-up sequence to see if maybe there's something that fell through the cracks in your system. So you do need to have a system in place to handle any bugs or issues so that you can address them. And then you want to do a debrief. I know so many people who get discouraged, they launch, it doesn't go well, and they can't tell me why. I have a lot of people who come to me and say, hey, I already have a book out. Can you just help me promote it? And I'm like, well, what did you do the first time? Well, I sent out emails. And I'm like, okay, did you do a debrief to figure out what aspect of your funnel or your process didn't work? And they're like, no, it was just like, it just didn't work. So you really do want to debrief and kind of figure out if you can. And sometimes you may have to hire someone, especially if you're going to be doing ads. Unless you have the time to really sit down and do one of these Facebook ads courses, you can find an inexpensive consultant who can do these ads with you or for you. I highly recommend that. And so for you today, where you are here now, which things do you think you would need to level up your skills or hire someone? Tell me. Are y'all still here? What are the things that you're going to have to level up? So I mentioned, I think I put them in the chat. If you're going to level up your education, I highly recommend these books by Russell Brunson, only because he's done a lot of the great work of distilling marketing and sales down into very simple stuff. And when I say simple, he's a very humble guy. I love the way he teaches. He's got a bazillion videos on YouTube. I mean, he makes these, I guess I better stop sharing my screen. He makes these stick figures, you know, and he breaks things down into such simple terminology. And I mean, I've studied sales and marketing, but I love this because it is literally like a recipe. So even with my high-end clients who pay me 15 grand for brand consulting, I walk them through this so that you're following a tried and true process for creating your content in a way that's engaging. So I love it. So I highly recommend, if there's stuff that you know you need to level up your skills, then start doing that and be ready to do that. Make sense? All right, so let's see so you need some help with all of the above. Fandy, you say that you need help in creating video content and marketing strategies. Awesome, okay. Branding and a consistent look of YouTube videos. Great. Well, go through, I don't know if you're in there yet, Shireen. I mean, we met so long ago, but go through the Personal Branding Bootcamp. The Branding Bootcamp will help you figure out your entire brand platform, the look, the feel, the colors, the images, and then you can create them very cheaply or for free on something like Canva, for example. Or you can hire someone. I mean, you can do this on Fiverr, you can do this on Upwork. This does not have to cost you a lot. And in fact, in the very beginning, I would recommend you not go spend a ton of money on an expensive website, expensive logos, unless you're super clear and you've been at it a while and you really know that, yes, this is how I want my brand to be. But the reason I've encouraged you for today to at least do this product launch within 30 days without spending a ton of money is because then you're going to get feedback. And that's going to help you really have the confidence to say, okay, now I really am ready to either hire that web designer or spend the time learning it yourself. Yes. All right. You need the worksheets for today, Amaka. I will do that in just a moment. So Tammy asks what to do if you don't feel confident on camera. My question to you is why? I would want to know why. Is it just that you've never done it? Tell me specifically why. And Amaka, I don't know where you are watching from, but if no one has dropped it in there yet, can somebody please share it on the YouTube channel? If you come over here, if you would just come to the deep dive place, then you would find it there. Can a product be a blog? Sort of. Are you meaning, would you charge people money for that blog? Is that what you're saying? Would they actually have to pay you money to get your content? Because there are services like, what is it called? Medium.com, which is allowing people to do have a paywall, meaning you've got to pay to get in. So that is a possibility. Sorry, I'm still trying to get over to YouTube to pop in the link for you. I'm trying. There we go. Here I am to save the day. There is in the chat now, in the comment section, it's there for you. If you go to the comments on YouTube, you will see the deep dive worksheet number 4. So let me know exactly what you meant by, wanting the blog to be a product. But you could certainly do a product launch, the whole sequence of getting people excited about this new blog that you're going to do it. And Tammy, if you're just saying that you are nervous about being on camera because of an accent, I wouldn't worry about it. Now that I've been doing this for so many years with people from other countries, I've had so many people say, oh, but my English, it isn't perfect. I have an accent. The reality is people love accents, and we love when people make an effort to speak English. So if you're not 100% confident because maybe your accent is very thick or whatever, fine. At least have a little snippet somewhere on your website where you could say something like, hi, I'm Tammy. Welcome to my website. And then the rest of the video can be other stuff. And you could use a voiceover artist if you really needed to. Or you could at least not be on camera and be reading the script and just do the audio with other images on the screen. But I highly recommend that you at least welcome people so that they get a feel for who you are, and definitely have an engaging photo on your sheet, on your website. Because in this day and age, and I've been saying this for years, but now it's even more true than ever, people want to know who is behind the information that's on the websites. They are not just going to take it for granted that you're legit. And it's not just a matter of qualifications and certifications and degrees. Like, we want to feel your heart. We want to know, can I trust you? Who's the soul that's behind all of these promises? And so even if it's just for a couple of minutes so that people can see your eyes light up and a smile from you where you're just welcoming them to your website or to your YouTube channel, then that's fine. And it's fine if English is your second language. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. And yes, you could try Medium and sell your content if you wanted to, or if you just want to blog on medium.com, you could do that. I republish my blogs to Medium and Thrive Global. After Arianna Huffington sold off the Huffington Post, she created Thrive, which is using the Medium WordPress platform. So I share my blogs over there as well. I still publish them on my own websites, which, at this point, there are 4 or 5 websites that we're doing. So even if it's a free blog, that's a great way to start building up your own brand image. And absolutely, Medium would be a fine place to do that. Okay, and now, do I have a recommendation for recording scripts or an audio? What do you mean a recommendation? In which aspect are you hung up, Margareta? But I know we're going to be working in the synergy group, so I got you covered. But yeah, let me know what you mean. Do you mean like what kind of device? I mean, you don't have to go all fancy with the big microphone and stuff. These days, I don't remember what kind of phone you have, but these days you could actually do it on your smartphone and then send it to someone to get, cleaned up, getting rid of background noise and such. Yes, I love this. You're so right. Amaka says, Tammy, people love authenticity and they see it too. And with English being your second language, it can be used in your favor. You can make it rock. Yeah, we're all rooting for you. And I find that as well. I have these other beautiful light workers that I work with from many countries. And the beautiful Solveig Þórarinsdóttir, who is from Iceland. She is now known as Soul Whitefire. Before she did her TED Talk, which is amazing, we took her to the TEDx stage last year. She was so nervous. And I'm like, the Icelandic accent is beautiful. So really, just trust me when I say, don't worry about it. We love accents and we love authenticity. So sharing from the heart is what makes the most sense. Shireen asks, how do you make JV deals so that you can help women access more quality support? For example, if I support the content of other speakers as part of your brand, like a trusted healer supermarket, that's an interesting concept. JV deals. So basically, you support the content of other speakers. So are you saying you would create kind of a trusted healer website and other healers could be listed in like a directory? Is that what you mean, Shireen? Because that could certainly be valuable. Let me know what you mean. Yes, so on your Samsung, you can record directly into that or into your laptop. Record the audio and then send it away have an audio engineer. I've got a great audio engineer who does my podcasts and my videos, especially because here in France, I've got this beautiful marble floor and these high ceilings. So the sound is always sounding echoey. And in quarantine, I got lucky that I recorded the audiobook for my Real Self-Love book just before we went into lockdown. So I was able to go to a studio and record for 4 days straight. But now when I'm at home, I put a little, pillows, or sometimes I'll do it in the bedroom where there's more blankets and stuff. But I just send it out to an audio guy, and my sound guy rocks. not expensive at all. You can find these kind of people on Upwork or Fiverr. I've been working with him for a couple of years, so I'm happy to share those resources. If you need it, you can just send me an email. All right, my friends, so we have been here on this major marathon, and we still have, 2 more days to go. Has this been helpful? Can you let me know in the chat? All of this free content and free advice, has this been helpful? Whether you end up joining a program with me or not, I would love it if you'd just let me know what you've gotten out of this. And if you've gotten some value, whether that's helped you feel more confident or demystify some of these processes, I'd love it if you shoot me an email. And if you are willing to leave a testimonial, that helps. Tomorrow, we will be talking about how to write a book. I'm going to give you 3 keys to writing and publishing a book in under 90 days. And it is absolutely possible. I know I saw in the comments that some of you would like to know about the group books that we are working on. I'm happy to share that with you. I love helping people get branded by being in these books. You know, this book here, The Top 10 Traits of Highly Resilient People, we have 21 authors who got published this year. And this came out in January. Nobody knew that Corona was going to hit. And this thing has helped so many people because you've got these 21 authors, each sharing stories of how they overcame burnout and breakdown and health challenges and devastation. And it's providing so much help to people right now who are also suffering and thinking, how am I going to get out of this? So this is a beautiful way to get branded as well, because I take you through all of the branding and everyone gets interviews and they get highlighted on our website. So somebody asked about Medium. When I blog on medium.com or on Thrive Global, which is on Medium, you still own the content. It's still yours. It's got your name, your byline, your bio, but it's just being housed on their site. So when you look at the terms and conditions, you still have the right to use that content in other places. You can use it in a future book. You know, I've seen people blog consistently and then they come up a year later and realize, gosh, all of these articles would make a great book, and it's your content. So have a look at that. Thank you for letting me know that this has been helpful and amazing. I know it's been long. I can't believe we're all here. Another great day. Thank you. It takes your brain a little while to digest it all. I know. Yeah, it's been a lot. I'm sure you're all here for these 2 hours because of quarantine, right? I was trying to figure that out, like, maybe I should have shortened this, but you know, what are we going to do? We're all here. Yeah, good. Excellent. So I'm so glad this has been helpful. All right. Wonderful. So tomorrow, who's going to join me? Who's going to be here for how to write a book in 90 days or less? I will also share the links on our co-authoring project so that if you would like to co-author with me, you can. I'm going to find the links to it. We also, I mentioned the healing book, but we also have a book on manifesting love. Now, the beautiful Margareta, who's been chiming in a lot on her birth process, she shared a story in Magic and Miracles, which is another book that we published with a group of authors from around the world. But this year we're doing one, and she happened to manifest her beautiful relationship with Daniele. We are doing a book called Manifesting Love, where we're inviting people to share. Either you're a love coach or a relationship coach and you know how to help people call in the one, or it could be that you are someone who used a special ritual or process to try to get people to try to, get yourself hooked up. So Manifesting Love is another book that we're doing this year. And Ninette is here as well. She's one of our co-authors as well, who shared her story in Magic and Miracles. So it's a great way, especially if English isn't your first language, it's a great way to get yourself published, because coming through our process, you go through our writer training, and then everything is professionally edited so that you can feel confident in the output. Somebody wants to come and say hello. Okay, she's growling to get up on my lap. Hi. She always wants to be in these broadcasts for some reason. I don't know. It must be your energy. calling forth the dog to bring her little love. All right. Well, I'm so, so grateful that you guys have been here. Fandy, you manifested your husband. Ooh, interesting. Well, you might want to check out this book. It doesn't really pertain so much to your area of expertise, but being in one of these group books, if you are a healer or a coach, being able to say that you're published in one of these books does help. And then getting all of the interviews and stuff, it's helped as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so Batanai, you can't help but asking this question. Do I plan on using my exquisite British accent to launch an e-commerce platform? You are hilarious. No, that has not been one of my plans. But good to know that I haven't completely offended everyone in the world with my crazy British accent. Anyway, my dear friends, thank you so much for being here. It is such a joy to connect with you. Do you feel the love and the support, not just from me, but from all these other wonderful souls? We're all in this together. All of us light workers, sensitive, creative, weirdo types, and the little nerdy ones amongst us as well. We are all here to help with the suffering on this planet. So I really do believe that this is going to be a transformational time for this earth. We are going to rise again because we are resilient. You are resilient. So I pray that this information has helped you get out of some of that analysis paralysis, or at least by next week. I know it's a little overwhelming today. Go through the worksheet step by step. Do the things that I've told you to do so that by next week, when you're in your analysis section, you'll be like, okay, boom, I've got my thing. I'm going to do this project and get it out in 30 days, because then you can assess what worked and what didn't. And that, my friend, will give you so much more confidence in your ability to start cranking out products. It's going to be just a blessing to everyone involved. So thank you all for being here. It's such a pleasure to see you. Oh, there's Karen, another one of our authors in Magic and Miracles and Life After Trauma. So, so, so good to have you all in this community. Just know that I am sending you love always. And in all of my prayers and meditations, I'm always sending love and light to connect with you so that you can remain healthy and strong and blessed. So my dear friends, please remember you are a gift to the world. So share your presence with passion. Much love, everyone. See you tomorrow.